More than 20 years ago, a group of frequent flyers bought a bunch of magazine subscriptions. They took the subscriptions and tried to turn them into first-class flights across the world. That is the kind of move that makes you a miles legend. This is their story. Welcome to Legendary Miles. The year was 2001. All the people looking for an edge in the frequent flyer game spent their free time on FlyerTalk. FlyerTalk is a message board for the frequent flyer community. It still exists today, but most of the conversation these days has moved to Twitter, blogs, Reddit, Facebook groups, and other channels. But in 2001 you had to be on FlyerTalk to get the good info, and oh my, the things you could learn. For instance, in December, a FlyerTalk user named Firefly Reaction started a thread to update fellow frequent flyers on a deal they'd been discussing in various other locations. Some initial success had been had, and it looked like the deal might work. What was the deal? A plan to buy magazines and turn them into enough frequent flyer miles to buy first-class tickets to nearly anywhere in the world for short money. How did it work? The plan went like this. Step 1. Enroll in hotel reward program Radisson Gold Rewards. You might not know Radisson, but they're a medium-sized hotel chain that still exists today. Their reward program was similar to Marriott Bonvoy or Hilton Honors. Step 2. Use the number given to you by Radisson to enroll in an affiliated general rewards program called Gold Points. Gold Points was a reward program used by various companies including Radisson and the restaurant chain Fridays among others. Gold Points allowed users to transfer their points to frequent flyer programs at a rate of 4 gold points to 1 frequent flyer mile. The programs that you could transfer to included many of the big international airlines including Air Canada, American Airlines, Delta, United, and Cathay Pacific among others. Gold Points was basically a shopping portal. You started at their site, then clicked to other sites to buy things. One site you could click through to was Value Mags, who sold magazines. Step 3. Click through from Gold Points to Value Mags and buy some magazines. Since Gold Points was running a special promotion, you got 450 gold points for every dollar you spent. Seems like a generous but ordinary proposal to me. Spend $50 on magazine subscriptions and you'd get around 22,000 gold points or around 5,000 frequent flyer miles if you transferred them out. But 5,000 frequent flyer miles wouldn't get you first-class flights across the world, even in 2001, but if you were thinking like this, you weren't on FlyerTalk back in the day. The original poster, Firefly Reaction, made the case for buying $1,111 worth of magazines. It's a random amount, but you'll see why in a second. $1,111 of magazines would get you just about 500,000 gold points. 500,000 gold points could be transferred for 125,000 British Airways miles. That's enough to fly the Concorde from London to New York. People were excited. The thread blew up with users considering going off for big numbers. Some were talking about getting in for more than 5 figures worth of magazines. The Concorde was a turbojet-powered supersonic passenger airliner that was operated until 2003. It was known for its speed and luxury, making transatlantic flights in under 4 hours. Imagine jet-setting across the Atlantic in style, sipping champagne while cruising at over twice the speed of sound. This dream was within reach for those willing to dive into the magazine deal. The allure of not just any flight, but a Concorde flight, added an extra layer of excitement and urgency. For many, this wasn't just about accumulating miles, it was about experiencing a piece of aviation history. The Concorde represented the pinnacle of luxury travel, a once-in-a-lifetime experience that these miles enthusiasts were eager to seize. The thought of soaring through the skies at Mach 2, arriving in New York from London in record time, was a powerful motivator. The Concorde wasn't just a plane. It was a symbol of ambition and the extraordinary rewards that could come from a savvy point strategy. While the deal seemed pretty amazing, one huge question still remained. Would Gold Points honor this deal? Would they actually pay? What if you spent thousands on magazines but they refused to give you the miles? I have to admit, I would have been hesitant to risk $10,000 this way, but I guess that kind of risk-taking is what makes you a miles legend. Okay, so you think you'd take the risk. A logical question arises. What about all the magazines? Well, they mostly went to good use. A lot of people donated all the magazines to children's hospitals. Others reported sending magazines to nursing homes, homeless shelters, and other charities. One cheapskate user, who shall remain nameless, planned to give magazines to nearly everyone he knew as Christmas gifts that year. Some users were smart enough to write off the donations of dozens or even hundreds of magazine subscriptions to lower their taxes and the cost they were spending to get those miles. It seemed like a deal made in heaven, but then, the day after Christmas, users began posting that the deal was dead. Gold Points told callers that the deal had been overrun and they were stopping it. Once it became clear that Gold Points was done, that same huge question remained. Would the miles post? Was Gold Points saying the deal was dead but they'd pay everyone out who got in? Or were they saying no one was getting the miles? For a few days no one knew. Stress was high and some users were sweating it pretty heavily. There were threads started with the idea of bringing in the lawyers and suing for the miles as a group. Eventually, the founder of FlyerTalk, Randy Peterson, posted a response saying that an official representative of the company said to him, "We will make sure that everyone that purchased magazines under the Gold Points 450 promotion is awarded their points." Even that didn't kill the sweating. People wanted those miles and they wouldn't feel safe until they were locked away in their accounts. After a few more days of sweating, word came through. They were honoring the deal. The miles were posting. Firefly Reaction went on to buy much more than the $1,111 he originally considered. He ended up with 4 round-trip business class tickets from Toronto to Sydney, Australia on Cathay Pacific Airline, priced at 100,000 miles each at the time, so he got his hands on 400,000 miles. The cost in dollars? A bit more than $3,500 in magazines. Sure, it's a bit much to spend on magazines, but round-trip business class tickets to Australia for under $900 a piece is a steal. That was less than the cost of coach tickets. $3,500 was about 90% off the retail value at the time. These flights went from Toronto to Los Angeles, on to Hong Kong, and finally to Sydney, all in business class. And all 4 were round trips. And they were all bought with magazine subscriptions. Another FlyerTalk user bought $10,000 worth of magazines in the space of 4 hours, coming away with over 1 million frequent flyer miles. Some people settled for a few thousand miles, but for Firefly Reaction and a few others, they took the chance to go big. And in doing so, they joined an elite group, the Miles Legends. Unfortunately for us, this deal is long dead. Neither Value Mags nor Gold Points exist anymore. But there are always new deals and people willing to go big after them in the miles and points world. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one, where we'll take a look at story where people tried to go big in the miles and travel game.